Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. Could the Ripple case have a partial appeal in the Supreme Court? We're going to hear John Deaton's response on that. How about this? The Fed is hiring digital currency talent, ladies and gentlemen, for a CBDC. You're going to want it, and we're going to give it to you. BIS is citing Ripple, and we like hearing it. Guess what else? XRP price technical analysis. Green means go. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $1.17 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is 1.3% off today. Good afternoon. Bitcoin, 24,600 plus. Ethereum, 1,600 plus. Tether market cap is 70.4 billion. XRP is 39 cents. It's up 5.3% on the 7-day. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen, right here. It's Catherine Austin Fitts. You need to hear what she's going to say about crypto. Take a listen. Shout out to DAI for the clip. I should hit play.
As a policy matter, I do think that cryptos were encouraged and pumped and dumped and continue to be pumped and dumped to do the prototyping that's needed for the central bankers to figure out how to do CBDCs. But they also play a lot of other roles, helping to move money around secretly, helping to launder money, helping to get a lot of the people who are freedom fighters working for you and building your train tracks instead of building towards freedom. So even though I think a lot of people who are using Bitcoin to try and build freedom are very sincere, I think part of the op is getting them to help the central bankers prototype where they want to go. And I think it's been very successful. I think crypto has done a great job of sort of leading a whole world of people into a process that helps the big guys get to where they want to go. So as a policy matter, I do see crypto as an op to build towards the CBDC. And I think from Mr. Global standpoint, it's been remarkably successful.
Absolutely, and well said by Catherine Austin Fitts. And you know what? Look, it is a high-risk environment. We know what's at stake here. I know a lot of us understand the risk we're taking. But I tell you something, that's why I am a customer of Glint, because it is a way for me to accumulate gold on my app and have a MasterCard debit card should I choose to spend it. And this is a big deal for me because I know that I'm taking massive risk in the crypto space and in the investment space, period. And when I gather Glint on my card or gather gold on my Glint account, it makes me feel amazing. And you can do the same thing too. Check out my sponsor. Click that link underneath the video. It is something you will not stop doing once you start doing. It is just a fun thing to do, and it feels so good every time I do it. eToro gains regulatory approval to offer crypto services in New York. Now, this is big, but hold your hat, because this is big too. And it says here, crypto broker eToro says it will delist Cardano and Tron for U.S. customers. Holy moly. Listen, I'm not going to jump down in this article, but what I will say is that, obviously Charles Hoskinson blocked me during the ETHgate period. I've never said a word bad about him, not crossed towards him. I have never encouraged anything but a professional conversation. I am reaching out to him and anybody who has a connection to him to let him know it is time for him to unblock me. He is in the same boat as all of us XRP holders are. This is a crypto fight that we should be stronger together on. It is time for us to unite, ladies and gentlemen. And Charles, let's unblock me and let's get this thing going. It doesn't matter whether the 1% or 10th of a percent or 100th of a percent of what we may not agree on. Let's get together on the 99.999% of what we agree on and fight together to make sure we can keep it. That's what matters now. And speaking of that, this right here is a question put forth from DAI. Shout out to him for this question. He says, hey, John Deaton, is it possible for there to be an SEC versus Ripple partial settlement and a partial appeal, which could end up in the Supreme Court. John Deaton answers back here. He says, in my opinion, Ripple would pay $100 to $250 million in a settlement if the SEC agreed publicly that current and future sales of XRP are not securities. The SEC is not going to agree that in the middle of its war versus crypto, Judge Torres could provide clarity on secondary sales, which isn't appealed. That's what he chimes in and says there. And I tell you something, look, that sounds like an outcome that I'd be tickled with. And I don't want to speak for Ripple, but I don't want them to write a $250 million check. But if they get clarity, I don't think they'd have a problem writing that check. We could be days or weeks away, and obviously it could be a few months too, but we could be days or weeks away now from an actual ruling in this case. We will watch, obviously, very, very closely. In the interim, keep this in mind, the regulatory space and stable coins, that's your on and off ramps, ladies and gentlemen. And we covered yesterday that the Financial Stability Board has said that many stable coins that exist today may not meet the upcoming crypto regulations, which will be recommended to be finalized and adhered to by 2025. Now, let's keep this in mind as well. BIS puts out a paper here, May 2022, and this is what Mr. Mann, I believe it was. No, ISO 20022 has found. But shout out to Mr. Mann as well. Bank of International Settlement cites Ripple versus SWIFT while discussing combining digital currencies with SWIFT messaging systems for payments. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's so important about ISO 20022. Understanding that when you hear people say ISO 20022 tokens, compliant tokens, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. That is a slang term. Very quickly, there's hundreds of people joining the channel every day, every week, and we got to give it to them very quickly here. ISO 20022 is a standardization of a messaging payment language that is being adopted throughout the financial industry. That adoption and that standardization is going to allow for coding of things that have not been in the system up until now, like digital assets, mainly like CBDCs, for example. And yes, it is speculated assets like XRP or XLM and others. But it is important to note that standardization from the messaging standardization of ISO 20022 is important in its own right, because that standardization and uniformity, I believe, is going to do the same thing like the Jevons paradox did in the Industrial Revolution and in the shipping container industry. Because they brought standardization to every ship, to every port, to every container, to every crane, to every truck, it increased supply trade to an unfathomable number to bring global trade to what it is today. That is the same thing I believe we're witnessing happen inside of the finance world. And in this document right here, you can see as it talks about integrating innovative technology could overcome system problems. As an example of new foundational infrastructure, some DLT infrastructures combined a messaging system competing directly with SWIFT. We know RippleNet does that, and so much more. With digital currency and blockchain technology and retail payments, such a design can transfer transaction information, settlement payments, simultaneously and immediately after payment is initiated from the sender. The system can provide more information, transparency regarding each node's liquidity status and currency exchange rate. And down here, Ripple versus SWIFT, it shows the reference documents here, transforming cross-border remittance using blockchain technology. This is, I think, an important find as we sit in a time of uncertainty. And so is this information. Shout out to DJ Peter Vass for this one. Central bank digital currencies, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. Federal Reserve is hiring for a digital currency talent. And when you get into this, this is what the job says right here. As a part of the Federal Reserve's mission to promote accessible, safe, and efficient systems to facilitate dollar transactions, the Federal Reserve System seeks a senior technologist to perform central bank digital currency research and development. Given the dollar's important role, Federal Reserve System seeks to further understand the cost and benefits of the potential technologies for central bank digital currencies and how the system better understand this emerging field. This position is a unique opportunity to be a part of a team on the leading edge of technology research into central bank digital currency. You'll join a world-class team in a dynamic environment that has the feel of a startup. As a senior DevOps engineer, you will help to deploy, manage, fix, and reinvent the tools, services, and components that our team relies on to develop our CBDC research infrastructure and keep it operational. If you were wondering if the United States is going to do this thing, I think you can take wonder out of the sentence. Finally, right here from Ed Grad Crypto, he says red, green, blue. Green means go, but there's a green 1 and 2. RGB of the XRP is explicitly indicating a mega pump and is coming, but my concern is the ruling of the judge. If the ruling is in favor then of XRP, we'll go green 1. If not, then we have to wait till green 2. What do you think, green 1 or 2? I think any green 1 or 2 would be fine with me, because if this is the response we get after green, it could be 1 or 2. I welcome it all. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.